someone who is fighting against imperialism. David, ready? Oh, he's doing the shadow boxing. Someone who's fighting against imperialism, a representative in this state. And we often say, you know, let's get the people in. Well, this is somebody who is doing great work. This is someone who you want to support. This is someone who you want to get behind. This is someone who I hope runs this state house one day. This is David Morales.
Now, brothers, sisters, and non-binary family, I understand that today we've heard a lot of numbers, a lot of statistics, with trauma and lives behind each and every single one of them. And it's important that we continue to emphasize those points. We continue to emphasize the fact that since the year 2015, on an annual basis, more than 800 lives have been murdered at the hands of law enforcement. They have been murdered at the hands of police. Since then, over 6,500 souls have been taken. And most of the times, about 98% of the time, little to no accountability is held. And I mentioned that. I say it as a reminder to the people right behind me, to the people right behind the glass doors who have their arms folded. I say it to the police right behind us. The fact that we have over 12 police officers inside the state house with the police cruisers parked in the parking lot, and we got another set right in front of the mall. Over there too. Why? What are they scared of? Last time I checked, they get away with all the violence with little to no accountability, yet they act like they are the victims. I see them with their arms folded up. And I ask myself, is it because they're tone deaf? Is it because they don't care? And I come to the conclusion, it's because they don't care. Because they know they can get away with it. And we could talk about qualified immunity, but to really localize it down here in the state of Rhode Island, I want to let everyone know that we have something that is called the Law Enforcement Bill of Rights here in Rhode Island. It has existed since the 1970s, right during the peak of the civil rights era. And the police unions, they pushed for it, and they got it. City leaders buckled down to them. State leaders buckled down to them. And since then, we have had several cases of police violence, police brutality here in the city of Providence, here in the state of Rhode Island, that has gone under the covers because of the fact that disciplinary action is never displayed to the public, despite the fact that it's our tax dollars funding their police cruisers, it's our tax dollars funding their offices, their uniforms, their weapons, and everything in between. Yet and still, they can continuously get away with violence, and then they come back and complain, oh, people are talking about defunding us. Yet at the same time, we've been talking about the fact that we've defunded our schools. We have a state budget right now, a state budget that includes allocations for 23 new police officers. And at the same time, we just cut Medicaid for the 6th year in a row. So it also comes down to a lot of the backroom deals that happen within City Hall and inside the State House. The fact that these police unions, because we support labor unions, correct? However, there are certain occupations where they already have authority, where they already have power. They don't need any further bargaining power. And that is the police unions. And there's a lot of work to be done. I think the top priority here in the state of Rhode Island is to make sure that we get rid of the Law Enforcement Bill of Rights. It is not right that a panel of active and retired law enforcement officers get to determine whether an officer accused of misconduct or alleged of misconduct with actual evidence of it gets disciplined. Doesn't make sense for a law enforcement officer, again, active or retired, to make the decision on whether one of their fellow comrades, whether one of their fellow brothers is going to get in trouble. No, of course they're always going to side with them. What's the incentive to side with the public or to side with the victim? Little to none, especially if the victim is a person of color with little to no resources, depending on a public defender that is already overworked. So as we stand here today, I just want to remember, there is a lot of police violence happening in our own backyard. There are a lot of protections that the people behind me, the 12 dozen people who again have their arms folded and look like they're ready to throw some fists. Because they're, who else recalls during the summer? The fact that we were protesting in front of the State House, yet we were met with riot gear? And I still remember the chants. I don't see a riot gear, why are you wearing riot gear? And thankfully, today they were respectful enough to keep inside and to not have riot gear. But yet and still, their presence is sending us a message. Not a message of solidarity, but a message of we're ready to strike if we feel the need to, because we know we have the protections, and a lot of you don't. And as I was driving over here getting ready for the protest, it saddened me to see a paddy wagon parked right in front of the State House. Almost as to say, we're ready to arrest a couple of you. But again, let's remember, this fight stays local and it trickles up, going from the grassroots all the way to the top. So thank you all for being here, because I promise you, we're going to do whatever it takes inside of there to make sure that the state budget does not funnel additional money towards police, while at the same time we're cutting healthcare services and not properly funding Providence Public Schools that has lead in their water pipes. That to me seems like a lot more of a priority than having more armed officers within our cities and towns. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. From the bottom up. That's truly a fact. So the people here who may think, oh, well, I just show up to a protest, but can I really make change in the State House? Everyone here that has come up to speak is a testament that you can make change. That you can make change.